Welcome everyone, today I have a new guide for Diablo 4. In this video, we're going to look at something special. So here we'll be looking at all the uber unique items and also according to the classes and also different builds for the class, what are some of the best uber unique item for any of the classes. Now do keep in mind guys, this is still a work in progress. And if you remember our previous videos, my friend Dad has gotten all 7 uber unique items. And I'll be working closely with him to try and also test different builds for different classes to see which of the uber unique item will fit the best for that class for different build. So as we go through testing, we'll be updating this video for you guys in the future as well. So coming over to my summary, I made a short, brainstorm listing of some of the things I understand and I know. So what we'll do is, let's briefly have a look at each of the uber unique item and talk about this for the class. This first one I'm going to talk about is going to be the Grandfather, and this one will increase your critical chance by up to 100% as a multiplier, giving you a massive life and also damage boost, and also this one gives you a stat boost. So in terms of the Grandfather, only 2 classes can use this one, and this will be for the Necromancer and also Barbarians. For the Barbarians, it is quite easy. You can start using the Grandfather plus any of the swords and also increase critical damage and also critical chance to get the massive boost from this particular weapon. Because Barbarians can use 4 weapons, this is pretty much a no-brainer for the Barbarians. For the Necromancer, the best build to go into the critical damage and also critical chance will be the Bone Necromancer. You could try other builds, but ideally the sword is a little awkward for the Necromancer. So if you're going for the Necromancer, the Bone Spear and also the Bone critical damage, essence, ossified essence will be the best build for the Necromancer with the Grandfather. Now if we come over to the second weapon in the game for the uber unique, this will be the one-handed sword for the Doombringer. Now if you come over to my character in the game, you can see that my Baron is currently using Doombringer. Yes, I was fortunate enough to get this sword, and this provides some really good stat boost. 26% damage boost, 29% core skill damage, and 41% maximum life increase. You also have a lucky chance to lower the enemy's damage by 20% and deal shadow damage. So again guys, if you have the Barbarians, this is again the Doombringer will just be a big stat boost for your build. And Doombringer plus the Grandfather together for the Barbarian is going to be some epic powers in terms of damage and also maximum HP. Now if you're going with a Necromancer, the Doombringer with the Necromancer will be really good for the Infinite Miss build. If we come over to some of the top tier build, you can see currently Infinite Miss build for Necromancer or Max Roll or any of the builder side, Mobilitix or D4 builder, this is the top build. And if you're trying with the Doombringer or Necromancer, this gives you tons of additional damage and also survivability and also stat boost. Now for the Rogue, Doombringer can be used similar to the Barbarians. Because the Rogue can use 3 weapons, having one of the Doombringer gives Rogue more survivability, more damage, and this can be even better if you're going with any sort of shadow damage boost for the Rogue. So on top of my head for the Doombringer, this can be the Twisting Blade Rogue, or if you're going with the Range Rogue, this can still be a really good stat boost. Now as we're going with the next uber unique, we have Endurer's Vestige. Now this particular item, on the first hindsight, you might be like, oh, just poison damage over time, right? But the biggest factor for this item is the poison resistance and also the lifesteal. Or the poison resistance is not bad, but the 2.8% lifesteal guys, if you're hitting for 1 million damage, your lifesteal lays 28,000 HP back every hit. And if you use Terminity, which turns your overhealing into barriers, this can make infinite barrier and super powerful with a 25% additional damage when you have a barrier. So this item is actually surprisingly good if you build this correctly. Now for any of the build that wants to have maximum life, wants to have maximum HP, well healthy, any of the build that attacks fast, and any of the build that just wants a bit of life and survivability, this works. So this particular helmet is pretty useful for most of the classes in terms of defensive capacity. This can also be an unkillable helmet for PvP as well if you use this one for PvP against most of the players. Now coming over to the 4th item, this one's gonna be the Spear of the Center. This is a 2-handed staff that is only available to the Druid and also Sorcerers. A little unfortunate. I was hoping this one to be on the Barbarians and I'll be all uber unique Barbarians. But of course I never even got the staff right. So for the sources, my friend Death is currently testing a media build, but it is a little random because there's so many Shire buffs, like the defensive ones that you don't really need, like the greedy ones, like the protection ones. The nice ones are going to be the artillery ones, the lethal ones, and also the conduct is a little tricky. So this one is a little funny because it takes about the two-handed weapon slot. Even for the paralyzed druid, you want to overpower in terms of randomness. So we're still yet to discover the best build for the Spear of the Sender. If you do have a suggestion, guys, let us know in the comments. Now the fifth Uber unique item on the list is going to be Harlequin's Quest or the Shackle. Well, this item is very good because it provides you with 4+ skill ranks to all the active spells. Whether it's your core spell, defensive spell, macabre spell, meteor spell, any spell you want, this is good. And enough said, I really want one, and all my friends has gotten one except me. And this is good for any of the build. If you have this head on, put it on any of the class, any of the build, this will make you super powerful. Because each skill rank in the game will provide you 10% more damage multiplicity, I believe, and this can either provide you 10% more damage or 10% cooldown reduction. And this is great for defensive skill, mobility skill, utility skill, and also any of the core spells. Unfortunately, guys, this one does not increase your ultimate skill by rank 4. That'll be broken, right? I've never seen that before. Now the second last item, or the sixth item, Uber unique item of the list, is going to be the Ring of Starless Skies. This item will provide you guys with core skill damage, critical chance, critical damage, and the ability to reduce the cost of your next core skills as you cast core skills. So right away, this is like a little niche of the market for most of the build. It cannot be worked with Infinite Mist Necromancer, and similarly for sources, if you're going with the Lightning Bolt build, this is not a mastery spell, right? So for any of the build that's going to use your core spells, this will be really good. For me currently, I'm using this ring as a damage boost against the boss. But unfortunately, the Belt Chieftain and also the Echoing Fury for the Shouts build are really nice combinations. So if I were to switch my rings out, I'm going to switch the cooldown reduction and have this ring for the damage boost. But in most of the worldly activities, I actually prefer the cooldown. So for this ring, I think for the Necromancer, you can go with a Bone Spear build, or you can go with any of the Blood build. The Blood Surge build, the Blood Lance build will be really good. Any of the core build for the Barbarians, and any of the core build for any of the class should work for this ring. Now finally, coming over to the last Uber unique item in the game, and this is by far the most difficult one to make a build with, it's gonna be the Melted Heart of Shijit. Now this one has some really interesting mechanics because it increases the core skill damage, damage while healthy, and also a bit of random stats here. The interesting part is you will gain 30 maximum resource. Right away you're thinking Fury, Hotter Barbarians, or maybe the Necromancer with maximum essence will be really good. Now the downside is, or the good side is, when you take damage, you will spend your resource to protect your life. But the downside is, if you take too much damage, all of a sudden you have no resource to cast anything. So there's two ways to go around it. One way is that you can be building a build that doesn't require any resource. Like the Infinite Mist Necromancer doesn't really need the resource. Then you can consider using this particular amulet for the tank ability. But you do lose out on other benefits using other amulets, right? So this is a really interesting Uber unique that makes you tanky, and it's tricky to get around it. Now right away, if you're playing Necromancer, you can go with the Bone Spear build for the maximum access boost, and before you get hit, you kill them first, and this way you're actually getting a lot of more essence and lots of more damage. And this is a similar way for the Hotter Barbarian. If you have enough Fury gain and unlimited Fury gain, and this one with 30 increased Fury is going to make you hit even harder. Now if you're playing a rogue with infinite energy from the Twisting Blade, this can be really good. Because infinite energy rogue, infinite focus, means infinite life. During those few seconds with rogue, while you have your infinite energy, that means you're unkillable. Nothing can kill you because you're converting damage into, resource. And because of that, this one can be really good on the rogue. Now, sadly for the sources and also for the druid, I haven't really found a really good build for it. Maybe the meteor for the sources, but you do lose a lot of energy. And similarly for the lightning bolt sources, you will be losing lots of energy if you get hit. and you do get hit a lot because you're melee range. And for the druid, maybe the Stormclaw druid, but you don't have the unique stuff, right? So I'm not really sure about this one for the sources of the druid. Again guys, if you have some recommendations, let me know in the comments below. Now hopefully this video is helpful enough for you guys, and I'll be providing you guys with some of the additional builds I'll be making about those builds very soon. So I'll be working closely with Death to make a build for each of the classes for any of the uber unique items you find, to make a build for you guys. So this way, your hard work of finding uber unique items will become much more rewarding, and you'll be able to test most of the build using your classes or trying out different classes for those items you got. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also Paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates, and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4.